Hello and welcome back to OzCanyons Beyond the Guidebook. Today we're in Canyon Country, and if you play the computer game Aussie Canyon Explorer, you might recognise the scene behind me, or at least be able to match it against trip reports by David Noble, Tom Brennan and Andrew Smithy Smith. Now right next to me here is a pretty good canyon known as Bullwinkle, but you won't find Bullwinkle in the guidebook. Rick Jamieson published 5 editions of these, but no one told Rick about Bullwinkle. Bullwinkle is proof that there are still hundreds of canyons out there for you to go find, explore and enjoy. But to do that, you have to go beyond the guidebook. Bullwinkle was first published by David Noble on his website in 2002 with a generic title of South Wolgan Canyons. The photo descriptions didn't offer any further information. That webpage is no longer online, almost lost to time. But thanks to the Wayback Machine, it can still be accessed. The webpage file name was bull.htm, that's the first clue. Then, the webpage header was Bullwinkle, the answer. First abseil is into an amphitheatre. Abseil just right of the watercourse. After a short little bash, the creek reaches the lower cliff line. Creek looks scrubby there, but we're about to dive down into the sandstone underneath all of that. Use the rope because it looks a bit slippery. It would be down climb in Utah. I don't definitively know the history of the canyon, but as a guess, all of the canyons in the area were explored in the 1970s by Sydney Uni. So my guess would be that the canyon was named after Peter Vanamoys, don't know how to say that. His nickname was Moose. Bullwinkle, the cartoon character, is a moose, so I would presume that is the connection. Much larger drop. Dropping down into a pool. You can see the bottom might be waist deep. Looking back up canyon, there's a very convenient tree there for an anchor. Halfway down that abseil, narrow bit there, tricky to get your pack through, and then abseiling down. We have had some viewers write in to say it's unfair to say that guidebook author Rick Jamieson only published canyons that he was told about. Apparently Rick did a fair bit of exploring on the Nunes Plateau in the 1980s, but Rick was too humble to include his own endeavours in the history section of his guidebook. As you come through the next corridor, you'll note a tree root there. That is the anchor for the next drop. I first came through here about 10 years ago, and when Melissa abseiled, the whole tree root came away from the wall. That was rather disconcerting. I was happy to abseil off the tree root, but I didn't want to go back up for a second abseil to film it. And there's a short corridor with lots of sticks and a bit of a short down climb. Maybe another very convenient tree up there on the right for the final drop. The pool at the bottom is a swim, but you can bridge stem across it. I think the log you can see there is just floating, so that will not be any use. You'll descend the canyon to a lovely background chorus of bellbird chimes. Well, it's one thing to work out where the canyon is, but you also need to work out the exit as well, and there are some big cliffs around here. There is an exit upstream here in the Jamieson Guide and an exit downstream in the Dave Noble Guide. That is a Tom Williams Pass. This is a Tom Williams Pass. I've just been up with the rope to fix it, so I've come back down to get the pack now. If you're using Dave Noble's guidebook or sketch map, it's important to know which passes Tom led, because you need to give great respect to those passes. A highlight after every descent is the campsite corroboree, rating the quality against the Brennan scale. We've got a 6, a 4, a 5, a 5, a 10... Bullwinkle is a 5, better than Kumbanda but not as good as Empress. It's still a worthwhile objective on the Nunes Plateau, beyond the guidebook.